I am going to talk to you on the video about a client that came to me recently. She was a friend from my Sunday school class. Her little daughter had come in there, and we struck a friendship up right away about birth. And over a year ago, they told me about their tragic birth, and it was a cesarean and several interventions, and they were very unhappy with the hospital and doctors. And we were definitely both on the same side of the page. In our appreciation for birth and the intervention that didn't seem necessary and was pretty traumatic for everybody. Well, I got a call about a month ago, and she said she wasn't exactly sure when, but she was pregnant. And she was just wondering if I had any classes or anything, because she was trying to psych herself up because she would have to have another cesarean. So I started talking to her about everything. And I said, well, you should come over and we should talk about this. So she brought her husband over a few days later, and we had a long conversation. And in the conversation, she said more and more things came out. So at first, I was super enthusiastic about her birth, and of course I still am. But it just seemed pretty surface at the beginning. And so I said, well, maybe I can help you, we can work something out, because I don't want you to be traumatized if it's something, let's just check out all the circumstances and see if it's something that would work. So when they got here, they unfolded to tell me that they also, her water broke at 36 weeks, and so that was really the reason for the cesarean. The baby was breech, and her water's open at 36 weeks. And she said, oh, and I should probably tell you, my husband wanted me to say that I'm a carrier of herpes as well. So for me, as really a beginning midwife, I've been to about 75 births over a span of probably more than 30 years. Anyway, so I have never run into anything like that. So I'm going to use that as our conversation. So part of me, what I could have easily said and wanted to say in my, like, what am I going to do? This is out of my, this is out of my scope. I have never dealt with anything that was a problem before. And I didn't, though. So actually, I think she had told me that on the phone before she came. She said, my husband wanted me to let you know that. And so I said, oh, let me look into it. So I had a little information under my belt. And so then when they proceeded to tell me all the different things that came up on that visit, what I could have said was, oh, man, herpes, yeah, that's probably why they gave you a cesarean. And your waters broke at 36 weeks. Wonder what was your diet like, and approach it from a negative way, maybe. Also, let's see. Yeah, the fact that the baby was breech, and they were concerned that the next baby would be breech as well. So just focusing on the negative and like being on their side, like, oh yeah, that is really scary. No wonder. Probably will happen again. Which is ridiculous, and that's taking it to a far extreme. But part of me was a little bit nervous, like, this is like I'm stepping on ground I've never stepped on before, like walking on the water. So instead, I said, because I'd done a little bit of research, I said, like 20% of the women do carry this, and there's all kinds of circumstances, and we can probably work with this. And so I was not fearful at all. And when each thing that they came up with that could have been a negative, hi Jesse, about their birth, I was just like very understanding and like, yeah, that's not uncommon, and let's just take it one day at a time, or one step at a time, and maybe there will be something along the way that warrants that you may need medical intervention. Like, science is behind some things, but like the majority of things, no. And many women have babies after cesarean, and she showed me the scar, and it seemed like, well, I think we can figure out where the placenta is along the way, if it's attaching to the scar or going up the back, and feeling safe. And Marin's in Sedona, so if I have any fears or any questions, I'll be on the phone or have her help me out as well. So I felt pretty confident, and I made some inquiries. I did a lot of research and made some inquiries after that, and feel very calm that at this point, meeting by meeting, I don't see that anything necessarily would be in the way, emphasized about the importance of nutrition and some things like that. So being very sympathetic and understanding and on their side, and making them feel like, yeah, this is totally normal. This is totally normal. Yep, this happens. Yep, don't worry about that. There's a lot of fear in our culture, but a lot of these things they've been having, good outcomes along the way. And I think that there's natural things that we can do. She doesn't want an ultrasound. She doesn't want to take anything unnatural. She's super careful and willing to go to whatever lengths it would take to have a home birth and, do her part to be healthy for that. And I was just right with her. So we'll see. I may at some point bail, but I don't, that would have to be something serious. Going through the school, I feel like it just keeps coming up, the reinforcement that, some of the things that I'm not familiar with are still normal and they're still okay. So excited about that. I hope that explains that I feel like I definitely understand the difference between having empathy and validating what they're saying and normalizing it, and like adding to the fear and or like a maybe even a holier than thou, like, oh my, really? You had a cesarean? Gosh, anything like that. Super sensitive. I've worked with women over the last, well, my whole life around babies and things like that. But for about 5 years, I've had business with doula and working with women in all ways. So I hope that will do it. Thank you, Melinda. Bye-bye.